Hello and welcome back to Caged Full Throttle, the only banger podcast that brings you the latest meeting reports, fixtures, news and much more. As we are back for 2019 with myself, Matt Josie, I've got three panellists tonight. First of all, we say good evening to Jordan Hollands. Good evening, Jordan.
Good evening, Matt. Good evening, everyone else.
Good evening to James Keane.
Good evening, everyone. Happy New Year to the Cage Nation.
And finally, sadly no Ed Fahey tonight, but we've got instead Jake Sanson. Good evening, Jake.
Good evening. Very delighted to be welcomed onto the show.
So as we move on, so we're going to kick things off, as always, with the meeting reports. Two of them tonight. Kicking things off with the annual Heavy Metal Classic down at Stanley Arena on Sunday the 6th of January. Not really a report, more of a discussion and just a little roundup of the day. So Jake, you were commentating, drafted in last minute. What do you think of the meeting? What do you want to bring up about the whole day?
I thought it was really well organised, actually. It was one of the better banger race meetings that you're ever going to find. Okay, I don't think everybody's going to be perfectly happy with every decision that was made. There was a lot of calls made at the time based on how many cars were still running up to that point, and obviously how many needed to be running by the time you got to grand finals and demo derbies and whatever. But I think personally, you know, having been to a few banger meetings since 2012, and obviously not for a while, but it was a great meeting to get thrown back into the arena again. And I have to say the action on track was absolutely fantastic. There wasn't a single boring race all day.
Yeah, it was certainly brilliant. Some fine machinery on show as well, some fresh cars. At 439, Danny Sutton with an Austin Princess Hearse. 622, Gary Webb with a Mint Yank. 476, Roscoe had an FX4 Taxi. There was also 5 DS420s of the limo and hearse variant as well. So there's plenty of cool cars across the unders. And Unlimited. Plus, we had a fresh micro limo from number 7 Ario as well. James, what was your favourite car there?
I think Ario's micro limo definitely has to have a shout out, because I think he had to fabricate it, and of course himself being a Caged Open Cup winner, got to have a shout out.
Definitely.
Across the whole day, fantastic. The Reynolds boys turned up across multiple classes and put on a great show across the day. Obviously, former world champion Mark Holdsworth went out there in the micro class as well, and the current unlimited gold top Carl Orris went out and looked like a champion in the final, pretty much faster than anything else out on that track, and took it home well. Across all the category winners, obviously Orris, then obviously 499 Leah Charles took the 2 litre non-Mondeos, Alan Hunt took the 2 litre classics, and Guy Wise in the micros. Every class had its moments. Every final had something a bit different about it. Especially the 2 litre non-Mondeo class, which had the Stan Lake locals who were everyone knows has been in a bit of a war together, but they were separated throughout the heats, which made for a very exciting and entertaining final between the Bunnies and the FBI. Every final was entirely different, but completely exciting in a different way. And I thought it was a fantastic day all round. And given it was a last-minute decision for us to go, Matt, we can't be disappointed at all. It was a great day.
No, certainly not. For £15 entry, we got 26 races in all, including 3 destruction derbies. It was just what you expect from Heavy Metal Classic. I mean, the heats were a bit tamer than previous years, but certainly that was more than made up for in the finals and the races thereafter. But certainly some great cars on show.
And of course, we saw the winner of the unlimited material from the cage meeting. Lump brought his car back out and put it to good use through Bradley D. Crandon's limo in the back.
Yes,
both drivers. Both drivers were absolutely delighted about that hit.
I'm sure Jake loved the Lincoln limo, getting T-boned all day. A brilliant wreck.
I was determined for that thing to continue under its own steam for as long as was humanly possible. I really, really wanted to see that just continue on through the entirety of the meeting. And I think I speak for many people when I say that I would really have loved to have seen somebody, you know, just charge through the middle of it, Smokey and the Bandit style, just career through the very middle of the entire cage. But fair play. It was very impressive to watch that Lincoln Town car continuously be brought out, even though it should have been scrapped long before the final.
I can't believe after Taylor Salter put that hit on, I can't believe it came back out again. I think it's just where it went through on the shell, the chassis just stayed as it was, and it was just basically pulling the shell round for the rest of the meeting. It was.
I get the idea though that's very much down to the character of Bradley D. Crandon, isn't it? Because he seems to be very much a bit of a showman.
Well, so on the comments on the cage photos afterwards, it was clear from Bradley that he had no intention of that limo making it.
No.
Every race he brought it out for afterwards was an absolute bonus. You could see the back and forth between him and Taylor Salter talking afterwards. The hit from up was very well measured. It was nothing silly, and basically tried to go through the middle of it, but somehow that limo still kept going. And I think everyone was delighted. To have that photo of that moment of that big shot, and then there was another one later in the DD as well.
And that wasn't the only bit of action from Bradley either, because of course he had that massive rollover down the main straight in the micros as well. So he was in the wars pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, because he rolled over on the home straight, didn't he, as well in the final?
He did.
Well, he was definitely there for a bit of action, and he definitely put a smile on everyone's face that was watching, which I suppose it's what a day like Heavy Metal Classic should be about. So thank you from all the people there watching to Bradley D. Crandon, and hopefully we'll see something again like that soon.
And also, it's worth mentioning, one very lucky man was 437 Conor Burbidge with his snapped Ford Capri. Some hit that was as well. Lucky to get out of there, but thankfully he was okay.
Yeah, that was a monumental hit, really, wasn't it? I mean, that was one of those incidents where you heard the impact and the marshal on the post went, red, straight away, red flags. Well, I mean, that split-second decision.
That's exactly what I said to Matt. It was basically exactly in front of us. And as the marshal ran over, he didn't even wait to see if the driver was going to go thumbs down, because you could see that the entire front end of the car had bent in. It's nice to see that the driver got out under his own steam. I think he was probably winded from the steering wheel coming into his chest. Luckily, no serious injury, but you could see as soon as that went in, Capri's famous just for snapping around the A-pillar, and it was a big hit, and it was one of those that you could see everyone just sharp intake of breath as it went into the.
To be fair, I think there was only 2 major incidents warranting a trip to the medical team. There was that one, and then there was another one which escapes me for the moment.
I think it was up on turn 4, but I can't remember who it was for.
Ah, yes. No, there was a big stoppage, and I think that there were quite a few fire stoppages, actually. So there were a lot of cars that were basically spontaneously combusting through the day. But yeah, it was really good to see that there were no serious injuries, which was really good news.
It also must be said as well, because I know a few other people have commented on this on Oval Chat, where sometimes Stan Lake gets a few people commenting on the officiating. The officiating was spot on throughout the entire day. The marshals were on absolute top form, and I think that also needs a bit of a shout out, because I think that added to the great day as well.
Yeah, definitely. And another quick mention to 528 Guy Wise, who won the micro final for the 3rd year running, which is pretty again, an action-packed grand final for the micros, and he took it for the 3rd year consecutively. Pretty amazing, really. So well done to him. Definitely a great win, that one.
What makes that more amazing is that micros is such a lottery, because you get so many cars out on the track at one time going in 3 abreast. To win that 3 times in a row, year after year, is pretty amazing in itself.
Yeah, it definitely is. Anything else you want to add to this year's Heavy Metal Classic before we move on?
The curry sauce was as good as ever.
Oh, definitely, yeah. The best curry and chips you get at any banger track in the country. It's worth trying.
I just wanted to add that it was very kind to hear so many, very nice comments from people in the banger racing industry when, considering my last major meeting was Ringwood Unlimited's about 3 seasons ago. And then before then, I got practically taunted out of the stadium at Hensford during Civil War in 2013, because obviously I was a Southern commentator and the Northern team won. And I was basically the target for all of the abuse. I think one particular person on a particular forum. Other forums are available, but there was one particular.
I don't think there is.
There was one. There was one particular
We all
forum
know what
comment.
you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the comments that came my way was that somebody thought I should be drowned in my own vomit, which is creative. Fair play to them. But yeah, I mean, it was quite nice to read so many positive comments this time, and people saying, it's nice to hear it. It was it's a knockout, which is perfect because that's exactly what I was going for. So I'm glad everybody approved.
It added to the excitement. With so much going on around the track, going into the last few laps, you definitely made sure that the excitement of the race lead wasn't lost on people, and we knew exactly.
But the thing is, it was exciting for me. I haven't done banger racing for a long time, and it was exciting for me to be back. So it was really, really good to see a well-run meeting with great cars, bonkers creations from some people, but that's kind of the charm of the sport. I loved coming back to it. There was some really nice people giving me some really good compliments throughout, and yeah, it was the perfect way to scratch that itch going into 2019 and get back into the commentary box. I really enjoyed it.
And thank you for our shout out as well.
Oh yes, definitely. And moving on to the second and final meeting report of tonight's podcast, it is of course the 20th running of the Civil War up at Hennisford. Jordan Hollands, you've got a report on this one, so take it away.
Yes, thank you, Matt. And I'm actually going to do it a little bit like you've just done your Heavy Metal Classic one, just give a sort of overview, because I don't want to spoil the meeting report, which will be on the website very, very soon. And there will also be a write-up in the next edition of Wheelspin magazine. So there you go, that's your plug-in done for tonight's episode. But yeah, anyway, moving on to the day's action, and it was as you'd expect with Civil War at Hednesford. Lots of fast, close racing, lots of tactics, and most importantly, lots of hard hits, with pretty much all drivers managing to walk away from instances which were good to see, because there were some absolutely astonishing hits going in, especially down on turns 3 and 4, which obviously at Hednesford, the cars come straight down that hill and they come into that corner at such speed, and there were so many amazing following ins and a couple of rollovers down there, but it was absolutely brilliant to see all drivers getting out, shaking hands and walking away, which for me is not only what banger racing's about, but is also what Civil War's about. A couple of the key races that I'm going to point out to you is Infantry, heat number 2, which was race 5 of the day. The Northern Army had won the first 4 races, and the Southern Army needed a big win in this one. It had to be said, they were falling far behind, and that's exactly what they got. But wow, what a race. I mean, James, we were standing on turns 3 and 4, and we were treated to an absolute crash fest then, weren't we?
Oh no, it was amazing the whole way through. I mean, compared to some Civil Wars, like it's sort of the mirror of last year, where it got close and then the South ran away with it. This year it got close and the North ran away with it. But in terms of the racing the whole way through, it was absolute spectacle of banger racing. It's exactly what you want from pretty much every race. The teams turned out really well, raced with the right spirit. Maybe it's a shame that it wasn't as close in the scores, but the entire atmosphere around Hensford was amazing, and it's exactly what you want from this event.
Yes, it was. And of course, we can't forget that absolutely brutal Tanks Heat 2. And the tone was really set when the Northern Army's 171 Tommy West followed in 246 Ryan Sparks into the turn 3 Armco at massive speed, and it was probably one of the hardest following ins I've seen in ages, so much so that the cars actually bounced off the Armco and went into the path of oncoming cars, and that just created a track blockage. So the cars that then came back around, they didn't slam on their brakes and try and find a way through. They just put the foot to the floor and went straight into it, and it was absolutely awesome to see.
Absolutely nothing could get through, could it? Absolutely nothing could get through. It's like so James Sheard had the 3 lap board out, and it felt like that last 3 laps would last forever because nothing could get through. But then no one was trying to basically let it die. The drivers that were still running were turning around, trying to make sure they got through to get the points for their team.
Yeah, exactly. And one of them drivers, as you just mentioned, was 278 Sean Brokenshire for the Southern Army. He put in an absolutely awesome display. His Mercedes estate got absolutely ruined in the first few laps. It was crabbing and it was smoking, but he was still trying to stop the three Northern cars. I believe it was Gareth Griffiths, James Rushton, and someone else whose name escapes me. I think it might have been Gavin Robinson in car 21. Sean tried to turn around. He gave Gareth Griffiths a head-on, but then obviously Rushton saw what he was trying to do and came in. But it was one of the moments where you're just like, yeah, the Southern Army can do this against all odds, and sadly, it didn't work out that way, but fair play to the Northern Army. Sadly, though, that Brokenshire incident when he turned around and tried to stop the last few remaining Northern cars, he did get loaded up for it.
He did.
The Southern Army did get deducted points, probably fairly, it must be said.
No, I think that's fair. It's well known at Civil War, hence it's such a fast track. No turning around to the DD. I'm not sure he meant it in any malicious way. The track was slow, but the rules are there. No turning around until the DD.
I think it has to be said as well. The head-ons weren't in any way fast, malicious. His car and Gareth Griffiths were so badly damaged.
I think he knew. I think he had to load anyway, and they weren't malicious head-ons. I don't think in no way was he trying to endanger the safety of another driver. I think he knew his car was done. It was just a case of blocking. But
yeah.
But the rules are there. No turning round to the DD, and I think it's just fair all round, really.
So then that left us with the 3 Grand Finals and the 3 DDs, and the Southern Army was still in it, and the Light Brigade final certainly threw up some drama. With just 2 laps to go at the last restart, the Northern Army's Lee White was leading it, but he had a pack of hungry Southern drivers right behind him who were probably frustrated with how the action of the day had unfolded so far, with Southern drivers being in the lead of the race, and then through great tactics and really, really good driving from the Northern drivers, just either getting spun out or held up by traffic. I know me and you were saying, James, we were cheering on the Southern drivers in that Light Brigade final, and they certainly didn't disappoint, did they?
No. I think there was a restart in that race as well, and it was that moment. It was like, are they going to slow down? Are they going to block? Maybe a little bit of extra teamwork might have got a few extra points there. There was definitely enough drivers on track, but it was very exciting at that restart in that race because there was just a huge pack of Southern drivers behind the race leader in white, and I don't think anyone really knew exactly what was going to happen, but he managed to pull away.
Yep, he certainly did. And it was fair to say another race we'll quickly mention, and probably the last mention, it was the Tanks final. And given the heavy destruction of the tanks so far in the day, I don't think anyone was expecting anything too special for the final. But 65 Josh Gooch for the Southern Army. He repaired his Ford Scorpio saloon, and against, I think it was probably 14, 15 Northern drivers, maybe even more.
Yeah, it was 16. I think 16 took the yellow flag, 15 started versus 1.
Yeah, so it was absolutely great to see, and I think that just in itself encapsulates what Civil War is about. Just getting a car onto the track to try and fight till your last breath and try and stop as many Northern cars as possible. And fair play to Josh, because that was really good to see.
He knew he was going to get blitzed. And to be fair to the North drivers, they let him put a few laps in as well. It wasn't like they were going... They knew that they could have blitzed him into the first corner and basically then took the rest of the race out. They let him race a few laps, but then he did end up pretty much underneath race control, unable to move after about 5 laps. And I think that's pretty much what everyone expected the result to be from there.
Yes, certainly. And well done to the Northern Army on a well-deserved victory.
On that, I do
the series 11-9. And of course, James,
So I do
We
have
also-
a quote. Oh, sorry. No, before we go on from there, I do have a quote from the Southern Tanks captain Cecil Steve Anscombe about the day. He said, "The North were awesome, absolutely good game. They had an absolutely good game plan, executed brilliantly. Their pit work was excellent." He said, "As the South, we just didn't seem to have the same team spirit as before, maybe the same togetherness. We got slaughtered in a few of the early heats. A few of ours went with the right attitude, but then you saw a few dead cards loaded in the heats. And from there, the heads went down a little bit." But he said, hats off to the North, and they well and truly deserve their win.
Yeah, and I think that pretty much sums up the whole day and the whole meeting. And those are very fair words from the Southern Tanks captain, 194 Cecil Steve Anscombe. And of course, that wasn't the only bit of rivalry going on track, was there, James? We also met the Wharton crew, didn't we? Standing right next to us.
We did, and while Jordan was being a little bit political, maybe not saying we're going to win, I went there with the attitude of, yeah, we won last year, we're definitely going to win. And by Heat 3, they were ripping the proverbial out of me.
And for those of you who haven't seen the picture, go and check it out on our Facebook, because I think James's face says it all.
The thing is, my face definitely does say it all. But I do have to say, shout out to those guys. They were absolutely amazing all day. We were taking the mickey out of each other all day, and they've invited us up pretty much as their guests for the day to come and watch them up at Wharton. It was great banter back and forth, and it's pretty much exactly what Civil War is about: promotions from all across the country coming together. And this year wasn't our year as part of the South, but hopefully next year will be different. And it really did make the day for me, actually, to be honest. If I was there, the racing was amazing, but it really made the day to meet some new people, have that banter back and forth, and I think it's pretty much the best of what banger racing is, to have that.
Yes, and of course for me as well, thank you to the Wharton crew. You were absolutely superb sports all day, and well, I guess me and James will look forward to seeing you next year, and hopefully the result will be slightly different.
And so I've got one more quote from another James. This is James, the Incore senior official and the starter on the day. He said he'd like to thank everyone for their efforts in making the 20th Civil War the best one yet. He said, well done to the North, extending their lead by another point, but it's all to play for next year. Hope to see everyone back next year. And that's from James Sheard.
And I think that pretty much sums up the Civil War 20 report.
Thank you, James and Matthew. What do you call you Matthew for?
I thought you liked it.
I hate it. It's all about... It should be Matt, and that's it. Anyway, we move on to the news, and we got 3 items to bring you this week. And the first one is what I think is a fantastic idea, and it's from Speedworth regarding this year's BWS rounds, and it is the 2019 National Bangers Entertainers League. So drivers will get points based on their crashing ability, top paint, and some of the fresh and most unusual cars they bring to the meetings this year around the raceways. I think it's a fantastic idea. Hopefully it will attract some more interesting drivers and cars to the World Final Grid come October. James, it's a great idea, surely, isn't it? We've got to be all for it.
I think on the face of it, it is a great idea. There should be more points for that. I think Trackstar have already used their seeds for entertainers. Now, on the face of it, it's a great idea, but I do have to say that there's been Terry Boxall raised a great point in the week about how there are points available for people bringing rare or fresh cars that have been sign written. Now, I think what's happened is it's the PRI seeds that have been used up for this. So the PRI seeds have been put into this Entertainers League where you can have a fresh car or a sign-written car. And it basically allows people with the money to bring rare or fresh cars that have been sign-written and put them out week after week. They don't have to race. You don't even have to worry about the entertainer points. If you had the money, you could bring a fresh granny to every race, completely sign-written, looking perfect, pull off after a lap and come back to the next lap. Now, while it doesn't take away from the racing points, which have always been there, it does effectively maybe allow more people with the money to be able to have fresh cars constantly another route into the world final. Now, I'm not saying that I completely agree with that. It's just a devil's advocate point, because I think especially the entertainers' points being put on this means that the BWS, which has got really stale and which has been called by many people effectively another hot rods league, because the BWS have been consistently fairly some of the least action events of the year. But I do think there's an interesting point there to say that maybe this doesn't benefit the drivers that are trying to turn up with something
And
on the key.
Hopefully, Speederford look into that and say, look, you're taking the mick. You've done one lap, you've pulled off. You're not getting any additional points. So hopefully that's something to look into, I'd say.
No, absolutely. I'm not against this at all. Like, I believe that anything to freshen the BWS up is a good idea. The BWS should be one of the biggest events for each of the tracks that host it of the year. It should be. This is the National Banger circus, if you like, turning up on the way to Ipswich. I just think any way to sort of liven it up is a good idea, and this is a good idea. I just think, hopefully, like you said, as long as it's not abused and as long as it's done in the spirit that it's intended, which is at the end of the day to make it more exciting to the fans, as this is when BWS are coming to town. I think that's fantastic. Just as long as it's not abused, I think it'll be a great idea.
It'll be fine. And moving on, some news we got in just literally the last hour or so, actually, and it's regarding one of the main fixtures at Stanley Arena every year, and it is the Free Litre meeting, which is penciled in this year for Sunday, the 3rd of March, and it is sadly going to be the last time it's going to be hosted at Stanley Arena. So sad news, but hopefully it'll go out on a bang in its 20th year now, I believe, as well. So Sunday, March the 3rd, get that in your diaries. It's going to be a cracker, that one, definitely. Lots of unlimiteds and plenty of crashing in the under 1800cc non-Mondeos, just like the Cage meeting. And talking of the Cage meeting, we can finally confirm details for the second annual Cage meeting at Stanley Arena, which will be taking place on Sunday, the 1st of December, featuring the 1800cc non-Mondeo National Bangers and the Unlimited National Bangers once again. So now we're into our second year running. We can plan things again very similarly. There will hopefully be another Grand Parade about 11:15 if we can get the drivers obviously turning up and scrutineered on time. But very similar, exactly the same as last year's event. Just we're going to try and push the turnout to about 100 cars over both classes. We hit around 75 on the day last year. Let's get 100 this year. Why not? So drivers definitely get geared up and ready for that one. Bookings will open from the 1st of October. Then we will reveal the booking list from the 1st of November. Then, of course, race day is Sunday, the 1st of December. So we've got all that to look forward to. And just quickly, before we close off the news, we'd like to say well done to our Cage Award winners for 2018 in the National Banger categories. So I'm going to go over some of the main ones for the National Banger Awards of 2018. The Driver of the Year award went to 617, Jack Overy. Most Improved Driver went to 278, Tony Kaiser. Entertainer of the Year went to 211, Dennis Vorkink. Team of the Year went to Rao 6005, who nipped past Team Sauter and Filmer. Best Young Gun went to 432, Daniel Duna. Mr. Matil went to Billy Bond in 72. Mr. Dedicated went to 59, Stephen Bolton, after his triumph at the 2017 National Banger World Final at Speedworth. He put in the miles last year, so that was definitely a very well-deserved winner. And that's most of the awards anyway. They're all on the cagebangers.co.uk website, and the Rookie Awards are currently live, so you can still vote by private messaging the Caged Facebook page or emailing us at cagedbangers@hotmail.com. So that concludes the news, and we're going to move things swiftly on to what would be usually a discussion, but instead we're going to fill the void with a quick 2019 fixture overview over the following year. Of course, there's a lot of fixtures to cover, a lot of tracks, promotions, and not even all of them are out yet. So I want to go over some of the main promotions. I want to go over Speedworth, Trackstar, Ringwood, and Stan Lake. So I'm going to kick things off at the Aldershot Raceway. Again, this is just a sort of preference, a little dip into the year ahead. So Aldershot's season kicks off a little bit earlier this year on Sunday, the 10th of February, with the first round of the National Banger Unlimited World Series. So, of course, that will be the first meeting that the Entertainers League comes into fruition. Looking on, we've got a Back to Basic King of the Ring event on Sunday the 7th of April. We've got the first ever Back to Basic Van Banger meeting at Aldershot Raceway on Sunday the 5th of May in a Van a Drama meeting, also featuring the standard Back to Basic 1800cc cars. National Bangers will feature quite a few times this year at Aldershot. On Sunday the 12th of May, we've got a National Banger Unlimited 3 litre Tongham Classic. What have we got? The Aldershot Open has moved to yet another new date, Sunday the 6th of June. We've also got the Back to Basic KA Fest, including 4x4s and ramp race on Sunday the 28th of July. One that I think will be very interesting indeed is on Sunday the 11th of August, we've got a Back to Basic Old Boys Day Out, so drivers only over 40 years old can go out in that one. Plus they've got the standard Back to Basic class as well. We've got an Unlimited National Banger World Qualifier on Sunday the 25th of August. Another Unlimited Banger meeting, a 3 litre domestic on Sunday the 1st of September. So that's already 4 Unlimited National Banger meetings at Aldershot Raceway for 2019. The 4th annual Back to Basic Championship of the Universe is Sunday the 15th of September. And then hang on. This is the last minute edition I've not seen yet. It's Sunday the 13th of October. It's called A Tribute to a Real Legend, 50 years of the great Roger Wilco, which will be Bangers Back to Basics Unlimited No World Final, which I love the title of that meeting. That's brilliant. And the season will conclude on Sunday the 27th of October of the annual gala event with the Back to Basic Rust in the Dusk. So moving on to the next Speedway venue, we're going to cover Eastbourne, which of course is a great little track for National Bangers. We're going to kick things off with the annual Bears Bash, if I can find that. I'm sure James has got the date ahead of me actually on that one. It's Saturday the 13th of July, the Bears Bash at Arlington Raceway. And we've also got the Classic Carnage is not long after, no, it's actually a month after that, I think. It's Saturday the 17th of August, the Jack France Testimonial under 1800cc Classic Carnage. I'm going to quickly move over to Mildenhall now, because they've got some very interesting fixtures this year. Their season kicks off on Saturday the 23rd of March with the annual Unlimited Supreme Championship, including the rear-wheel drive qualifier round number 1. There's the one that I found really interesting. So the annual Good Friday teams is Good Friday the 19th of April. Saturday the 4th of May is National Bangers Micro and Unlimited 6-a-side teams. That could be very interesting and hopefully entertaining on the crashing side of things. Plenty of 2 litre meetings there. The big vans will return this year on Saturday the 8th of June. The BWS round at Mildenhall Stadium is Saturday the 10th of August. The Dave King Memorial Weekend has moved to September. Saturday the 14th of September is the Old Cars meeting, and the Sunday is Unlimited Bangers. And then the season will conclude on Sunday the 15th of December in the Bangers World of Shale. So that is mostly Speedworth covered for 2019. Moving on to Trackstar, we've got on this coming Sunday is the Unlimited Banger Icebreaker. Always a great one, that. Sunday the 3rd of February is the under 1500cc Banger Icebreaker. The Crash for Cancer event this year is on Bank Holiday Monday the 26th of August. Also featuring 2 litre Banger Norfolk teams and the Reliant Robins for their World of Shell round. The Unlimited Banger World of Shell is Saturday the 7th of September. And what else have we got here that could be very interesting? The Carnival event, the Halloween Carnival, is Saturday the 26th of October. Sadly, postponed quite quickly into the meeting last year. With the season ending on Sunday the 29th of December with micro banger teams and junior bangers. So 2 more tracks quickly left to go over. Ringwood Raceway has got some big interesting events this year. I want to go straight to it actually. Where is it? So Saturday the 30th of March is the Unlimited National Banger Spring Open. There's a big Armageddon weekend as well, Unlimited National Bangers, and that is Again, if I can find it, I've not planned this well, have I, guys? Where the hell is it? It's Saturday the 4th of May and Sunday the 5th of May. So Armageddon weekend for Unlimited Bangers. The big banger weekend down at Ringwood Raceway. And we're going to finalise Ringwood Raceway with the Unlimited UK Open, which is Saturday the 7th of December. Now it's the week after the cage meeting at Stan Lake. So I'm going to quickly finish with the Stan Lake fixtures. The season kicks off on February the 17th for the Street Banger season opener. An interesting addition to this year's fixture list is the April the 14th fixture, small van, national bangers and pickup trucks, also including the standard street bangers. We've also got of course we've mentioned the last ever free litre meeting is Sunday the 3rd of March. 4x4 bangers June the 9th. The Mycock Memorial is July the 7th. The Trigger Memorial, which is always a good one, August 18th for unlimited bangers. Big vans on the 26th of August. The Street Banger Open Championship, October the 20th. And of course, Stan Lake's year comes to an end with the second annual cage meeting, which we can't wait for. And that is a quick overview of this year's 2019 fixtures. There's a lot to look forward to, I'm sure you'll agree. And any key meetings that I've missed out on, Jordan, James?
I know I don't think I've missed meetings out, but I think there's a lot of meetings there that just reading through them all, how excited I am for this year coming up. I think it's going to be one of the best years ever.
Yeah, certainly. Like I said, there's a lot more to the world of bang racing. That you've got all the other independent tracks, you've got the big promotions. So, of course, Google all the promotions for their fixture list for this year. And we're going to move on now to the Mouldy Old Quiz, which I think, Jake Sanson, you're in for a shock. I don't know if you've been told this yet, but you are taking on the quiz.
Oh, is it my turn? Oh, gosh.
Yeah,
okay.
it's your...
This could be very, very painful.
Yes, I'm afraid it's your turn.
Okay.
Just before we do move on to that, one of the Wharton boys have just called out Metal Mania at Wharton as well. His big event coming up in the next couple of months, I believe.
Yeah, definitely. That's March time.
I think after Civil War last year, we definitely owed them a shout out for their fixtures. So anyone who can get down to Metal Mania at Wharton, go down there. And I think that's.
Wow. I was just going to say, I wish to apologise to every single listener who absolutely adores banger racing in every way, shape and form, because I'm going to humiliate the sport utterly with my lack of knowledge. I do apologise in advance.
That's fine.
You only need to score more than 2 to beat James.
No, seriously, I think I'm going to go down like Bobby Crush on an oil rig, to be perfectly honest with you, but I'll do my best.
Okay, so before I go over the rules, we usually do a bit of an interview, but I think... For those of you listening that don't know, we're part of Downforce UK, which is Jake's baby. He does a lot to support us, and there is some big news for any motorsport listener listening with what's going on with Downforce in the upcoming year. Jake, if you'd just like to give us an overview of what's coming up for Downforce this year.
Yes, so our next big step in motor racing coverage is that we're going to take Downforce to become a 24/7 motorsport station, a radio station digitally. So it's going to become its own dedicated app, which you can find on your Apple or Android devices. It'll be launching around about mid to late March, and it will literally be a haven for anybody who's a petrol head or a motorsport junkie of any discipline of motoring and motorsport to set up new shows, to talk about various things, to listen to the best music, to basically get live coverage of great meetings in motor racing. The plan is that by 2020 we'll be at one-off meetings of all of the major forms of motorsport. So we want to take on the biggest events in Britain in terms of motor racing. Eventually, if things continue to go the way that we hope that they are going, and certainly in the way that we predict they're going to go, then by 2021, we'd like to take the whole thing to DAB radio. Obviously, it's a very big task, and it's going to take an awful lot of hard work from a lot of people. We've already started. At the Autosport Show, we had some incredible outreach from people who want to get on board with the project. There's a lot of subscriptions for advertising and commercial backing. There's a lot of announcements that are coming over the next few weeks. But the essential news is that not only is Downforce UK and obviously the Caged podcast going to continue in Fine Fettle in 2019, if anything, it's just going to get bigger and bigger.
And can I just say quickly, I just quickly add, is it going to be like repeats like on Dave? Keys Full Throttle?
Sort of yes and sort of no. There is going to be some recycled content. There is going to be a lot of various repeated program contents, but they will be running at different times. So obviously there'll be things that you'll hear at different times. It's mainly designed for those on the commute to work, or those who are stuck on a traffic jam and are fed up with Radio 3 or whatever it is, the classical music, and they want to have something that's good tunes, good content with motorsport. There's a lot from our archive which goes all the way back to 2012, but there's big interviews with people from the worlds of FIA, Formula One, the Le Mans 24 Hours, the British Touring Car Championship, and of course banger racing and ovals. We've gone to many different paddocks over the years, and there's some great content. We've been getting some great interviews from the Autosport International, which are going to go up on the service, from the likes of David Coulthard, everybody's favourite motorsport hero Billy Munger, and to various people within various different paddocks in motor racing. And that's what we're going to be doing as the channel goes on. So there's going to be something for everybody. It's going to take some time to build momentum, but the great thing is that the motorsport community is very caring, and there's a big community, and the motorsport fans are legion. So hopefully as we continue to make good programs, I think it's just going to continue to grow.
So to anyone listening across the motorsports family, whether it's bangers or not, whether it's the various Brisker formulas, whether it's national hot rods or stock rods, anyone that would like to produce a program or put a documentary together, get in touch with Jake and see if we can put something together. Maybe we can get it on the Downforce 24/7.
Absolutely. I mean, we have one-off programs and documentaries coming in. We even have one that journalist Tom Cairns put together to celebrate 50 years since Graham Hill's BRM took the Formula One world title. And, there's all sorts of different stories out there and subject matters that, there are amazing stories to be told. And that's kind of what we're doing.
Well, just before we go into the quiz, I'd like to say on behalf of myself, Matt, Jordan, Ed, Jake, Bryson and Andy, thanks for all the support you've given us over the past year, and we look forward to joining you in this journey over the next year.
You're very, very welcome. Flattery gets you everywhere. It's always the way.
So we're about to move on to the quiz, so I'm going to go over the rules of the quiz now.
Ooh, okay.
So there are 10 questions and 90 seconds. Once I've finished explaining the rules, I'll ask Matt to take us away on the rolling lap. Matt will start playing the rolling lap theme tune. We won't be able to hear it due to technical limitations, but people at home will. Once Matt says green, 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 I'll start asking the questions. You have to wait for me to finish asking the question before you can have a guess at the answer. If at any point you think you might know it if you get a clue, you have one lifeline. And that lifeline, you say the word thumbs down, at which point we'll go red, 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 and I'll give you a clue.
Okay.
After I've given you the clue, you will then have a guess at it, and then we'll start the clock again. So it's 90 seconds. Jordan, you on the clock?
Yes, James, I am. I am on the clock.
Once we hit 90 seconds, we'll go red, red, red. It's 10 questions. I understand this might be, well, given I finished bottom of the caged internally.
This is going to be a nightmare for every banger fan in history, screaming, what the hell does this guy think he knows about banger racing? I'm so sorry in advance.
So for people listening, I'm sure they know that we've had Dave Goddard on the radio show before. Goddard,
no pressure.
No pressure. Your friend Dave Goddard scored 7.
Yes, he might. I'm surprised it was as low as 7. I thought it might have been closer to 700, but okay. Fair enough.
Now, so we do try and tailor the quiz to make it a little bit fairer, and maybe we'll chuck a clue in here or there, but we'll see how it goes.
Right,
Mr.
okay.
Jose, are you ready on the rolling lap?
I am now, yes. I very accidentally hit the Spotify button, so he was close to hearing Britney Spears, but fine. I've got that sorted.
Oh, gosh.
Britney, baby, one more time.
Would banger racing be better if Britney Spears was the rolling lap music?
No,
that's a question for a
no, not even a debate.
Hit me, baby, one more time. Hit me, baby, one more time would be appropriate for a DD.
Yeah,
no matter how appropriate the sentiment, Britney Spears should never be allowed anywhere near any form of oval racing meeting, any form, even one that's ended.
That was my idea. That hit me, baby, one more time. So I'd like to copyright that. Myself.
In a more traditional sense, Lieutenant Pigeon, Mouldy Old Dough. Matt, please take us on the rolling lap.
We're now good on the rolling lap. Let's go quizzing. And we are green, green, green.
How many heavy metal classics have there now been?
Oh, oh goodness, I should know this. 19.
Incorrect. Who captained the Light Brigade micro bangers for the South this past Sunday at Civil War?
Oh,
He raced at HMC as well.
Oh, yeah, probably. Guy Wise.
Oh, incorrect.
No.
Who is the last short oval star to make the step up to BTCC?
Antwort Neals.
Incorrect.
Oh.
Which northern track is currently the subject of a petition to save its future?
Bellevue.
Correct. Which BTC star still has a presence in oval sport with his race exhausts?
Matt Simpson.
Correct. Which track was Heartbreaker held at before its current home of Birmingham?
Oh, Kings Lynn.
Incorrect.
Yeah.
What is the engine limit on Heartbreaker?
3 litres.
Oh, no.
No.
Which European track hosts the annual Blue Oyster event?
Oh, blimey. Van Ray?
Oh, incorrect. Which famous speedway family owned the wonderful track Arlington Stadium?
No, sorry.
You've got a clue if you need it. Say thumbs down.
Yeah, thumbs down.
Stop the clock, Jordan.
Yep, stopped.
So the elder one in the family, Bob, sadly passed away this year.
Oh dear.
So the family, Bob, sadly passed away this year.
It's no help. You're going to have to continue on.
He's born Eagles. He's born Eagles.
Ah, okay. No, I've got nothing.
Okay.
I've got nothing.
Right.
Red.
Oh.
Is that
Is
it?
that still two?
How many did I get? Like 2, 3?
You got two.
I got 2. I'm very proud.
It's a taking part. It's a taking part that counts. Remember.
Yes, it's the taking part of the consolation Mars bar that's in the party bag. Nobody wants to take home with them. You're absolutely right.
And
You
you
said
scored.
anything about a Mars bar?
And
yeah,
you did.
yeah.
And in fact, you did score as many points as the host of the quiz, who spends every week at a stock car track. So,
Well, I feel vindicated.
So, how many heavy metal classics have there now been? Your guess was
Go on.
19, I think it was.
It's too many, I think.
So the clue would have been Oris's first title came at Heavy Metal Classic 22. You did say how many, in your commentary, you did say how many years since his last
I was
title.
too close, wasn't I? Was it 18 in the end?
No, it's 31. So 9 years ago,
31.
9 years ago, he won his first title.
Yes.
Who captained the Light Brigade micro bangers for the South this past Sunday? The clue was he was a bear that you commentated on in the micros last weekend. Well, the weekend before.
Bear. Oh
Number
no!
3,
Go on, tell me.
Chatty man Kieran Fry.
Chatty man, yes, I remember now.
No, it does.
This is heart wrenching.
Who is the latest short oval star to make the step up to BTCC? Carl Boardley.
Carl Boardley, of course. I'd forgotten he'd signed for this year. Yes, very true.
Yeah, and recently signed for Team Hard.
Indeed.
You've attacked this year. Which track is Heartbreaker now being held at? Which track was Heartbreaker held at before its current home of Birmingham? That's Northampton.
Northampton. Okay.
And it's a 2 litre event.
2 litres. Yeah. No, not 3. Okay.
The Blue Oyster is held at Emmon.
Emmon. I still want to go there one day. You know. I still fancy that.
So do I, Jake. Don't worry, mate.
The family that own Arlington Stadium, where Bob sadly passed away in the past year, is the Dugard family.
The Dugards. See, now you're telling me all these answers. I can get them.
They're all coming back, aren't they?
And the one question we didn't get to, see if you would have got this, which would have put you on the 3 earlier.
Yes.
It was the last ever Arena Essex ORC/PRI Banger World Final winner.
Who was the last? Yes,
last ever Arena Essex World Final winner, and the clue would have been number 271 from TMT.
It's so long since I went to Arena Essex. No, someone's shouting at me in frustration. You moron! I don't know who it is.
The answer would have been Dean Goodall.
Dean Goodall. See, I've even commented on him before. I've even done commentaries on him before. I'm so sorry, Dean. I should have given you more credit.
But that's still 2 points, given you've been put well outside your comfort zone.
It's still 2 more than I ever had any reason to expect I'd score.
And we all got a laugh out of it, let's face it. We've got a little laugh out of it.
You've definitely got a laugh out of it, yes.
And so that's it. The Moldo quiz is done for another podcast. Jake Sanson, not quite the very bottom, but kind of is. But that's fine. It's the taking part that counts. So well done to Jake Sanson. And we move on to the message board. James, have we got anything that's worth mentioning?
Not really. So we had a few of the Wharton boys message in just to make sure that we gave them the shout out that we promised.
Northern Monkeys.
Thank you again. Yeah, the Northern Monkeys have been basically making sure they remember what the Southern
Sorry, guys. Have we mentioned the Wharton boys at all? I just wanted to make sure.
I'm not sure we have, actually. Should we give them
okay,
another
all right.
James?
Yeah, we should probably do that.
Yeah, well done to the Wharton boys. Fair play to you.
Thank you.
Oh, we've got...
To be fair, Jake, the amount of grief that I gave them, I think we've given them just the right amount of shout-outs in terms of...
see.
In terms of retrospective embarrassment and punishment for me.
Fair play.
For winding them up and then losing heavily.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Very good.
Just want to quickly say as well regarding the 2019 fixtures. Stuart Donovan's been in touch. He said the Capling Cup at Ringwood Cheetahs on the 2nd of June. Ringwood Cheetahs is very local to, of course, Ringwood Raceway. A dirt-based track, certainly worth going to, and one to look out for in 2019. And is that it, James? Have we got nothing else on the message board?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Darren Andrews said doesn't say anything about sunrise. It just says painted. So I don't know if that counts.
It says painted, but I think pretty much most nationals are painted. I think it's a bit ambiguous whether or not they mean painted or sign righted.
To be fair, I think they mean sign written because, as you say, to be fair, most of the drivers do paint the cars in their colours most of the time.
Usually,
I think they're looking for sign written cars that are very nicely presented.
A car turning up raw is rarer than a car turning up unpainted. So. And
Adam Seek Brown has been in touch. He says he's still the king of the quiz. He's still up there with his 8 points at the top of the leaderboard. And
well, he definitely would have got that PRI question right.
He did definitely, certainly. And
definitely would.
We're going to conclude things with the traditional fixtures to close the podcast. Again, we're still in the winter months. Not much really going on. So nothing this Saturday, really. Moving on to Sunday, the 20th of January, we've got the Kings Lynn Annual Unlimited National Banger Icebreaker. And on the same day, we've got Amaring for their only National Banger fixture of the year, with the 600cc National Bangers. Saturday the 26th of January sees the Arlington Raceway season opener featuring the Speed of Bangers in their second run-in, I think it is, Champion of Champions fixture. And then Sunday the 27th we see Wharton with 2 litre bangers and ladies bangers, and Taunton for the annual 2 litre Winter Open. And that's about it, really. I suppose the next podcast will be in about 3 or 4 weeks' time, depending on what we've got to in terms of news and meeting reports and stuff. So yeah, that's about it, really. Well done to the North. Well, I'm not going to say it out loudly, really. I just did, I suppose. But that's it.
I think just before we go off air, Jake, could you describe your view where you currently are to the rest of the listeners?
I did wonder if this would come up on the show or not. Well, you guys are
do
obviously...
tell.
Yes.
You guys are tucked up in bed in Blighty at the moment, but I am currently overlooking the final corner at the Dubai Autodrome. So yes, in my lovely view at the Radisson Hotel in Dubai Motor City, preparing for live broadcast coverage on Downforce UK of the Dubai O-Plate, which is the Indy 500 of kart racing. We kick off tomorrow, UK time, 20 to 6 in the morning. So if you are feeling a little bit restless and you do want to listen to some great racing commentary, we've got all of Friday and all of Saturday kicking off at about 6 a.m. on both days and concluding just in time for a very late lunch for all of you on Friday and Saturday. And there's a lot of British drivers in action as well. And many of the competitors that have raced here in the past have gone on to sort of Le Mans 24 Hours, British touring cars, and bigger. So it's always going to be a nice little event. But do join us. Yes, I am overlooking a very nice skyline here in Dubai, having a look at bits and pieces, but they haven't got much banger racing unless you count what's going on the motorway behind it. I'm not sure if that counts really.
Well, I mean, it's got to come second best to the view you had from race control at Stand Lake. So.
Yeah, it's definitely number 2. I'm afraid it's not as good as Stand Lake, and it's going to take a lot for Stand Lake to be beaten.
Anyway, I think that concludes tonight's podcast. We're going to tuck all my colleagues in bed. So good night to James Keane.
Good night, Matt. Good night, everyone listening. Thank you for another great podcast. Look forward to many more in 2019.
Good night to Jordan Hollands.
Good night, Matt. Good night, James. Good night, Jake. And thank you, everyone, for listening. And roll on 2019.
And finally, it's way past your bedtime, Jake Sanson. Good night.
Good night, and thank you for having me.
No problem. That's it. So thank you for listening to tonight's Caged Full Throttle. We'll be back in 3 or 4 weeks' time. Until then, bye-bye for now.